If your listing is not answering the questions that Rufus is prompting customers, then you have a problem. The system will find another way to answer that. Sometimes they will take information from the reviews. They might be reviews that are not positive.
Can you name 3 ways that Rufus is going to impact us going forward?
Not everything will be shown to everybody. And that is the big shift versus what we used to have before, where if you put winter jacket in your search bar and I do the same, we'll probably will get the same results, right? With this new AI approach, your results will be different than my results.
AI is rewriting the rules for Amazon sellers. Product listings, keyword optimization, PPC strategies are all evolving at lightning speed. But with Rufus and Cosmo shaking up the landscape, are sellers keeping up or falling behind? Today, we're breaking down the biggest AI shifts in the Amazon world, the mistakes to avoid, and the strategies you need to stay ahead. Our guest today is the founder of Online Seller Solutions. She specializes in optimizing catalog, inventory, and account health, recognizing the critical role of efficient management in successful Amazon businesses. She's constantly connecting and sharing knowledge with the community, and that's why she's created the Sellerverse, the first Amazon problem-solving community. And this is a returning guest, one of my favorites in the Amazon community, Vanessa Hung. Tired of negative reviews dragging down your star rating and sales? TraceFuse has your back. TraceFuse specializes in removing non-compliant Amazon reviews the right way. I'm talking 100% compliant with Amazon terms of service. And with over 11,000 reviews removed for 400 plus brands, they know what it takes to protect your reputation and boost conversions. And here's the best part. You only pay for performance. That means you only pay for reviews they successfully remove. No contracts, no monthly fees, just results. Plus, as a Lunch with Norm listener, you get 2 reviews removed for free. Ready to clean up your reviews? Visit tracefuse.ai. That's TraceFuse, TraceFuse.ai. All right, fantastic. So if you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comments section. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Okay, let's bring on Vanessa. Hi.
Hi, Norm.
I am so happy that you came on. This was short notice. So we were talking the other day with Kevin. You know, we got together and we started talking about a few things. And you've got just so much going on with the AI and the content that you're producing with Cosmo and Rufus. So I thought this would be perfect if we can come on and start talking about it. So for everybody who really doesn't know what's going on right now, if they haven't experienced it, which they probably have seen, can you just kind of go over sort of the basics?
Yeah, for sure. So, this is so interesting because now, obviously, it's been more than a year since we have seen the change. But back in October 2023, there was a white paper that was released about how the algorithm is getting enhanced with an AI or a large language model that understands the catalog. So before then, people were building listings to target specific keywords because at the end of the day, Amazon is a search engine, and then you optimize for those keywords that are being searched in the search bar. This white paper stated a different thing. It's a different type of technology that understands the context of the catalog in a way that it can make assumptions based on specific information. For example, if you have a jacket, the assumption is that you use or a customer will use the jacket for the winter or for when it's cold. Therefore, if somebody is looking for a jacket to go to Japan in the winter, that will be an option, or that specific jacket will be an option, even though in their listing, the information of winter jacket for Japan is not stated, right? So at the beginning, that was the idea of like, oh my God, now the catalog or the technology behind the catalog is getting way smarter, right? And understands the context of our products. So what are we going to do about it? So I discovered that in October. That's when I read the paper, started creating content, and then I went to BDSS in Hawaii, and I talked about it. It's like, okay, now because that's kind of the back end. And then in February, or I guess end of January, February, Amazon released Rufus. So Rufus is the front end of that experience, or where customers interact with a technology as a personalized shopping assistant, right? So we have the part where the catalog understand what your product is about based on a lot of key factors, and then you have the experience as a customer that you can talk to in a more natural way, the way that you will talk to somebody at a store, like a store representative, where like, hey, I need this type of thing. And that bot right now called Rufus will recommend based on what it knows about you as a customer and what it knows about the catalog. So that was the link, the two pieces that I needed to start. Okay, now this is where we're going. On top of that, and one of the biggest things was, back then we were talking about, well, but if that's true, then PPC will be dead. Like nobody will be doing PPC, because if you are not ranking or beating for those specific keywords, then you're not gonna be doing anything. And Amazon did their thing again, and they changed, or they started like shifting their PPC world, or the pay per click like keywords, to more audience based system. So now you have keywords that you can target specific audiences, or you can target audiences like for like through DSP and things like that, for specific products, and they're like merging everything together. So now you have a system that has the three components. It knows everything about the catalog, and it can make conclusions based on specific information. You have the shopping experience for the customer that basically interacts with them real time, like supernatural language. And then you have the information of the audience, which is ultimately the biggest, or the biggest part of this puzzle, because not everything will be shown to everybody. And that is the big shift, right? Versus what we used to have before, where if you put winter jacket in your search bar, and I do the same, will get the same results, right? And that was based on the ranking, and the organic rank and keywords and sponsor. With this new AI approach, your results will be different than my results, right? Because Amazon knows that first live in Canada, and then you are a male, and then your
with a
size,
beard.
with a beard, and then your size is large, and then you like blue. Like on my end, they know that I live in the US, I don't live in a cold weather type of place, I like pink, and my size is medium. Like those things will be prioritized because they know about me enough. And this is one thing that is crazy, they know about the customer a lot. So based on that, we're opening like a whole universe of possibilities, right? Because now the race, or the game, changed to, how can you build content for specific audiences, and that content make their way to the recommendations through the AI, which is one of the biggest things and the biggest struggles that I think sellers will face if they don't embrace completely the technology. Is when you go right now to Amazon and use Rufus, that by the way is available in the app and on desktop as well, and you ask for something, or you state a problem and you ask for some options for products, Rufus is giving you like three or four options. So it's like, this is what you should buy. So it goes straight to the discovery phase that customers used to do on Amazon, it's over. Like that's not what's gonna happen in the future. And for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, but not everybody's using Rufus. Not everybody, it's embracing the technology. It's a matter of time.
Right.
It's just, and if you think about it, the time that I've been talking, like for all of this change, I noticed it in October 2023, and today, 2025, we're already seeing like, I feel that the advancements and the developments has gone so fast that I don't believe we can imagine what's going to happen at the end of this year with that technology, especially on the adoption side. And that is one thing that I talk about on my LinkedIn one time, is like how much of it is the user adopting the technology versus the technology adapting us, right? Because if they add this personalized assistant to the main search bar, and that's the only way that you can search, then consumer behavior will change. And Amazon is, by the way, Amazon is not the only one doing this. At Walmart at
Right.
CES,
I
it
just
just
read about
happened.
that.
Yeah, it just happened. Walmart released their Rufus, or their version of Rufus. One interesting thing with their technology is that they went open source, meaning they connected it to OpenAI, I guess, knowledge base. So it has part of the, obviously, the information of the Walmart catalog, but the inference and all of the conclusions of things will come from OpenAI. So it's a way more advanced, I guess, solution, right? Than what Amazon has, because it's native. They build it. Like that technology has been on the build for a long time. And for a lot of it, and a lot of people that are not on with the change, they're like, oh, but it makes mistakes, it gets crazy, it's blah blah blah. And I'm like, yes, and this is the worst that it's gonna be ever. So today it's gonna be worse than tomorrow, and it will get better every single day. So that is the part where I don't think we are used to the level of efficiency or exponential development that AI has.
I was talking with Kevin King. Oh, this is a while back. And I don't know what he did. I forget what he told me, but he ended up asking Amazon for the data on him. And did he ever tell you this? It's like
Yeah.
700, think he said 780 pages he sent that Amazon had on him. So, if you're asking yourself, how will Rufus gather this information? It already has it. Like, 780 pages. The other thing I want to ask you, so now that Rufus is there, the listing optimization. So the title, and I'm going to talk to you about title. I'm going to talk to you about bullets. The title, can we get rid? I still see people writing these 200 character, titles, long, long titles, and they're still not written for human. And same with the bullets. Should we be changing this? I know that I think as of February 1st, there was a few new rules that came out for title optimization, that you can't use the same word twice.
Mhm.
The symbols are characters, and 200 is only up to 200 characters. But do we need it? Loving this episode? Sharing is caring. Don't forget to share this episode and give us a review.
So that is the part where Amazon Accelerate, they talk a lot about the normalization of experiences,
Mhm.
like normalizing the title, like, not having, the 200 characters, or having less than 200 characters, also repeating keywords, like all of those things. And I believe this is where they're going, where the content of the title, which is what you see, or for example in the A/B testings and in the things that they showed in Accelerate, was you go to search something, and then the title you see in that page, it's gonna be different for you that what it's gonna show for me,
Right.
depending on the keyword that you use to search that specific product. So they made this example with sunglasses. So somebody put sunglasses and the results were like, oh, sunglasses, blah, blah, blah. The title was like dynamic. And then somebody said sunglasses, aviator sunglasses. And even though it was the same sunglass, the same listing, the title changed to have that keyword that the person was looking for in the search bar. So this is where it goes back to what you were saying of the information they have on the audience. What is that you're really looking for, right? And making that experience so hyper personalized that you are more likely to engage or buy that specific product because it's talking to you. Like, and that is one thing that marketplaces until now has never been able to do, because in a marketplace it's kind of like everything for everybody, but right now that experience could be tailored for you. So it be specific information. What's going to happen with our title? I believe that we're going to get to a point where as sellers we don't gonna really have access to change it. We're gonna be very limited on the type of information that we can input, and the obviously the limit on the characters and all of that. That's where I feel that this technology is going, and there are a lot of implications on legal implications on whether Amazon will do that or not, and if it's convenient for them, and how they are treated as a marketplace rather than a seller. That I think is secondary to what they're trying to build, which is a standardized or a normalized experience to allow hyper personalization through AI. And that is the thing, like, you don't get to build the content for the audiences, the AI will do it for you. And that's the part where it is so disruptive. It is so disruptive versus what we used to do before to build listings. You really need to first understand who your audience is, which I believe for a lot of Amazon sellers, that is not something that they know about or as much. Meaning, you have a product and you're like, yeah, I sell to women in between 30 and 55-year old, and they make about, I don't know, 100K a year, and they like to go to yoga.
Yeah, and they make up all this information too. They have no no
Yeah,
research behind it.
is exactly. It's like, oh, that's what we thought because I developed this product based on my partner or wife, whatever. And it's like, yeah, maybe she's your target audience, but maybe not. Maybe somebody else. Like, maybe there are yoga studios buying your yoga mat rather than this female that you're focusing on. So that is the part where one thing, audience insights is not the same thing as demographics, which demographic feels kind of like a surface level information, and you can get a lot of that through Amazon will tell you, like, like who your customer is, like how much, if they're married, what's their age, what's their income, what's their level of education. That still doesn't give you a picture of, should we go towards, I don't know, um, explaining that this yoga mat is, I don't know, sweat proof or something, versus eco friendly or hypoallergenic, because you don't know what your audience really cares about. And that is what Rufus is doing. So on the other side of the coin, it's what Amazon already knows about that specific niche and that's those specific customers. So when you go to your listing and and Rufus shows up, it's like a bar a lower in the bottom of your mobile experience is at the bottom, and then on the desktop is kind of like a bubble that it opens up below the images. So those, like, under or inside that section, you have questions, and you might ask, like, where are those questions coming from? So that is based from all of the information that Amazon have gathered from customers in that specific niche and the things that they care about. So in a sense, Amazon already did the work for you on knowing who your audience is and who you're selling to.
Vanessa, do you think that they would pull in some of those questions from people also ask on Google, or if you're putting these questions into your listing anyway, like under just adding questions and getting answers from people from your listing? Want to hear about the latest AI updates? Check out my interview with Ecom Tent founder Max Sinclair here. And don't forget to subscribe to watch new episodes every Monday.
Yeah, so in one of the white papers, they explain how they get it, how they gather the information, and basically it was again through an LLM, and they threw like into this model, like put in all of the information of the listings, all of the interactions, like previous Q&As, reviews, and things like that. So based on commonalities on that information, so for example, if in the title it says that this is a sweat resistant yoga mat, and then somebody said in the reviews that, oh, it's amazing because I sweat and this is, not, it still maintain the grip and it's not sliding or something, and then somebody in the questions ask if these, will stain with sweat or something. So all of those pieces of information, they come together and then they use that component to make up a question. And you will see, if you play enough with Rufus, you will see that it gets to a point where the questions start repeating themselves, like it's kind of different phrase to the same question.
Mm.
So they use that based on what they know customers are looking for and what the product says it is. They are, and this is where the gap is. There are a lot of listings out there that, and because I've been doing a lot of AI optimization right now, is you go there and you click on a question, and Rufus answers like, oh, the product description doesn't state that this is, waterproof or something, but in the customer reviews it says that it's water resistant. And that is a huge issue, in my opinion, for listings. If your listing is not answering the questions that Rufus is prompting customers, like to in that experience, then you have a problem, then you have a gap, because they will find, or the system will find another way to answer that. And sometimes they will take information from the reviews, and as you know, they might be reviews that are not positive, right? And they might take answers that are not correct, or they might say like, oh, we don't know, we don't have information. And this is where it opens up a possibility where the system will promote other products. If you're looking, let's say, for the waterproof feature, oh, is it waterproof? It's like, oh, we don't know if it's waterproof. And then the customer will say, well, but I need a waterproof. And then, it will spin out some results and say like, okay, if you want to check some waterproof options, these are your options, right? So it is kind of playing like a three-dimensional chess, where it's not only the keywords, it's not only the audience insights, it is not only the questions that Rufus it's prompting, it's kind of everything. It's the experience that you're gonna add to your listing, and how you're explaining what your product does. And that is the other part: semantic versus the regular, like keywords that we put. For example, waterproof yoga mat, right? That is what we used to optimize for before, right? A long tail keyword. Right now you need to explain more about what that entails. Like, what is the function, why is it waterproof, or for what is waterproof, right? Like, oh, well, this is a waterproof yoga mat because it allows you to do 90 minutes of hot yoga without sleeping, or like maintaining the full grip, or that is the type of information that will help your listing to sell to AI.
Okay. Now, before we go, it's the bottom of the hour. We'll be talking about the Wheel of Kelsey in a second. Can you name 3 ways that Rufus is going to impact us going forward?
Okay, as sellers,
Yes.
I think it will change the way we rank, or and that is one thing in the way we used to think about ranking before, of like, oh, I am number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in organic rank, whatever. That is not going to be transferable in a sense, because the things that will rank for specific audiences are not the same things that will rank for other different audiences within the same category. So in that level, the focus will be, how do you make the best content to answer to your customers and your questions, and make like natural language content, so the AI can sell to the end customer. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
The other part is, a lot of it, once the AI trains, or once the information is there, it's going to be harder to make changes to what it knows. And this is one thing, I don't know, I don't know if it was in one of your WhatsApp groups, or Kevin's WhatsApp groups, but somebody asked me like, "Hey, do you have contact with the Rufus team?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think that's a team." Or, and I don't know, I don't know who they are, but if they are out there, I'll love to meet them. I don't know anybody. And then I'm like, "Why are you asking?" And the seller was saying like, "Oh, because Rufus is saying some things that are not right about my product." It's like, okay, you need to fix that. So the information that it gathers and it has about products needs to be aligned to what you're selling, because the moment that that is not correct, then you have a major problem. So making sure that it's accurate, making sure you stick to a specific need, functions, and audience is important too. So think about the optimization through that lens of the audience, the content that AI is already asking, and the questions that you need to answer. Um, and then the other part will be just, I believe there is a massive adoption with this technology. There will be a lot of blue oceans that will open up, because right now, racing to get number 1 in one specific keyword is kind of a bloodbath, right? Like, you want to be number 1 and everybody else wants to be number 1, and everybody's bidding on that specific keyword, blah blah blah. Like, we already know how that goes. But when the AI will give results for specific audiences, for specific questions, then it will be like mini spaces to rank higher. So Rufus will allow that, of like, in that specific question, you're ranking number 1 for that specific audience, and then you might be ranking number 2 for the other specific question. So it's not one game, there are multiple games on audiences and questions. I think that's exciting, especially for smaller brands that don't have the budget to keep competing in the PPC, and the bloodbath that is to be number 1 in one organic thing. So I think those are the three.
Today we have an awesome prize Vanessa is going to be providing. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Don't forget to subscribe right now and join us every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time for our live recording of the Lunch with Norm podcast. And don't forget that you have a chance to win big with our weekly giveaways.
Yes. So because of a lot of these changes that we're talking about, it's still very foreign to us, right? Because we have been building, Amazon businesses based on, the ranking, the organic rank, what we thought that it was the honeymoon period, and all of those things that have years and years of people making content, making strategies, doing the hack, explaining how they won the game at ranking and stuff like that. But with AI, it's so new that we don't really know exactly how that's going to play out and how it's impacting. I'm seeing, because of all of the optimizations that I'm doing, I'm seeing how we can change it and manipulate the AI answers and stuff like that. So because of that, I recorded like a mini course. It's only, I think, nine lessons, like 9 videos. They're kind of short, and they explain what Rufus is, what Cosmos is, what DSP is, how they interact with each other, the history of where we came from and where we're going based on all of the technology advancements. And I hope that with that, sellers will get a better understanding on what is that you're getting into and preparing themselves like mentally to say like, okay, now it's time to shift the strategies, to shift the way we build these things to something else. In the videos you don't get a specific, this is what you do, one two three, but it tells you what is that you need to be thinking about. So in the moment where you, let's say, think about this year of optimizing, making your listing better, then it's like, okay, I need to take in consideration that I need to know my audience insights. Do I know that? How do I gather that? Like all of those things. So yeah, it was super fun to make it. I believe that I'll keep adding more information to it. The more, we play around with the technology, the more Amazon releases more information. But yeah, it was super fun to do it, and I hope that it helps a lot of people to build a better strategy on, launching and building listings.
Very good. So that is the Wheel of Kelsey prize today. So it's that mini course. So stay tuned. At the top of the hour, we'll announce the winner. But if you want to enter, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag two people, and you'll get a second entry. Hey, Amazon sellers, are you leaving money on the table with Amazon? Well, TrueOps is here to help you reclaim every last cent you're owed. Over 1,400 brands have already recouped millions with TrueOps cutting edge technology. Finding reimbursements others may have missed. And guess what? You only pay 10% commission, no more overpaying the industry standard of 25%. Plus, the first $1,000 in reimbursements is free to you. Here's the best part: TrueOps doesn't get paid unless you do. If Amazon ever reverses a claim, TrueOps automatically credits your fees back to you. Now that's peace of mind. Remember, $1,000 free reimbursements to start, then just 10% of successfully recovered funds. You have nothing to lose but the 3 minutes it takes to sign up for a free audit and so much more to gain. Sign up with the link in the description and start reclaiming what's rightfully yours. All right, we're back. One thing I should mention is that not only are you a guest, but you helped me out with some major issues last week. And so Vanessa is one of my go to people. She's uber smart when she comes to this space. She solved some problems that our team couldn't get done, and she did it quickly. So if anybody's interested in working with you, where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so if they go to the website online seller solutions, you can get there like a contact button and message us. Obviously you can email me, Vanessa at online seller solutions. Anything and everything that makes or gives you a headache on Amazon, that's what we love doing. Like things that are for a lot of people unsolvable, that's what we where we thrive. And yeah, it was super fun because it's so funny when we had the conversation about this brand, you were like, this is impossible. I don't
Yeah.
know if we're gonna be able to do it. Like this is gonna be kind of hard. And then when my team told me about it, it's like, oh yeah, it's done. And I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, we did it. And I don't know, it was what, less than 4 days, 5 days?
Yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, anything. That's where we're super proud of being that kind of troubleshooting. And it's funny because for a lot of it, sometimes people ask me like, oh, you don't get bored, like you don't get like, you're over this thing. But every single win, like the one we had with your brand, was like, yeah, this is why I do it. Like,
Yeah.
being able to tell people like, yeah, it's done. That is just such an amazing feeling.
So check Vanessa out and her team. I'm telling you, she does a fantastic job. Okay, so now in this portion, the next section, I want to talk a bit about Cosmos. What is it?
This is a technology that it's built on top of the algorithm for the catalog, so what we know as the A9, and it basically makes inferences on based on the information that we have for the catalog. So Cosmo requires a specific set of attributes to understand what a product is about. And there are around 9 attributes. Things like what is the function? What is it capable of? What is the audience? What is the season? Is it compatible with something else? Is it an accessory? Where do you use it? All of those factors help Cosmo to understand what the product is about. It is not the same thing to, sell let's say a tumbler for coffee, like to keep the coffee hot, to keep something cold, like I don't know, a tea, an iced tea, right? There are completely different functions, and depending on what is the information that you have in the catalog, this system will make certain inferences based on that information. So honestly, I think that at some point the term Cosmo will be irrelevant, because it's just like a piece of technology that is analyzing the catalog in the back end. You don't really target that specific thing. You just add content to your catalog. And when you add it, and this is one thing, it is not different from the same narrative that I've been talking about for years, is fill out the most amount of information for your listing, have the most amount of information, and be comprehensive in all of the backend attributes that there are in your category. Once you do that, you're really selling all of the functionalities and all of the things, so the technology understand what your product is about. So it's just a little piece of this like big puzzle of understanding what things are in a more comprehensive way, or in what a human can understand. And going back to the example that I gave you at the beginning, it's like you use a jacket when you're cold, right? That kind of assumption, for us, for humans, it is so natural. Like, if you see somebody down the street with a jacket, you know that they're cold, like they probably want to be warm. For a machine, until now, that wasn't a connection that they were able to make. So that is what Cosmo provides to the table, brings to the table. What is that they need, or what is that it needs to build that knowledge, is content. Again, targeting those 9 functions of, yeah, functions or attributes of what is it, what's the function, what is it capable of, where's the audience, where's the season, is it compatible with something else, where do you use it. All of those things need to be answered. So I don't know, right now I feel that it is less relevant. I think it's a buzzword, like people love to hear about those like fancy cool new terms.
Mhm.
Does it really change much your experience if you know what it is or not? I don't think so. I just know that if you are optimizing your listing with the most amount of information, targeting what your audience wants to know about your product, then you're good. Like, everything else is kind of like a cherry on top, like, oh, you know about what this common sense knowledge algorithm is, but it doesn't really change much.
I hope it's going to change searches. Like, for example, I was just doing a search just recently for a cigar humidor, and it came up with, it started out with a couple of cigar humidors, and then it got into any other type of humidor, accessories for cigars. And you got to go through pages to find cigar humidors. So hopefully it could start being more relevant than what it's been lately. I, I don't know why, but some of the searches that I've been looking at, they've just come up with a bunch of garbage.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So
For
I'm
for
not sure
Rufus?
why. Well, no, not in Rufus, but just in general. When I'm going in and I'm asking in the search field for a cigar humidor, it just comes up with a whole bunch of garbage. So,
Mm,
or not just that, I'm talking about on a regular basis. There's just,
interesting.
yeah, just, and I'm not sure. Maybe it's just me. Maybe they've got my data as just some confused old man, and he hides his old Easter eggs, uh, and that's why this happens. But yeah, I'm just seeing a lot more of it than normal. Uh,
That's interesting.
yeah, I guess the other thing I want to talk about quickly is just AI. In your opinion, where do you see this going, either with Amazon or just in general?
I mean, I'm one of those people that are like all in with AI.
Hmm.
And we were together in an AI conference in Orlando, and I feel that every single thing they talked about there, it is going to be true, and that it's going to happen super fast. So the way that we are adopting the technology in a whole bunch of industries, that excites me a lot. I feel that it is the future. And thinking about what is next. So it's kind of like we used to live in this world that was kind of like limited by, the possibilities of, I don't know, the things that humans were able to build and think about and, dream. Now with AI, it's just this huge thing of like whatever you can literally communicate to a machine, it can be like, or it can be created without much, I guess, resources as before. So that is super exciting. I am doubling down in every single aspect of my business and everything using AI, making automations, that thing. And I believe that it will change dramatically the work or type of jobs we do, versus, as any, technology, it revolutionized the workspace. And now instead of, having people creating copy for you, now it's just an AI doing the copy. One thing though that it got me thinking, I read that, I think it was, I was on the plane here to come here, somebody said, it was a tweet or something, where they were saying, I don't believe the generation that is growing up or that will grow up with AI will care a lot about if something is real or is fake, because that won't matter anymore. So for a lot of us, like in the Amazon industry, when you see an ad or an image or a video, you're like, oh, that is like humans in a photo in a studio where, somebody was there like actually filming, versus something created with AI. And now you maybe be able to notice kind of the lower end type of videos that you see, but for the high end, it's almost impossible to notice if something is made with AI or it was actually shot by a person. But truly, the question is like, does that really matter? And I don't know in the future if in 2 3 years from now that will matter. I don't think so. I don't believe so. So if that is true, so if that hypothesis is true, then I feel that a lot of people will need to rethink every single strategy or every single way they invest their time. For example, and I give you one that I'm playing around with. I love to make content. This is probably my favorite part of my job. It's been in podcasts like this, is creating reading content, is educating people, is going to events. That's my favorite part. But now with I could literally record myself and I could feed a script to an AI. And with that recording of myself, I can clone myself and make 1,000, 100,000 more hours of content than what I could do as a like a human. Like I don't have enough hours in the day. So thinking about that on how my how I'm investing my time of, should I be doing this or should I be like learning about these things, being like ahead? Because that's the part, like I don't believe AI will ever be able to like innovate in the way we do. So that is our secret weapon, right? That is the sauce, that is the thing that makes us special versus a machine. we still need to be that special part. So in a brand level, it's like, what is that you're doing, what is that you're providing? And you talk about this in our AI conference. It's like, what is that tribe community kind of feeling you're building, so you differentiate yourself from others. So I think those are the type of questions that I'm tinkering about, or with AI. It's like, okay, what's next? And yeah, I don't know.
Everybody's going to have access to a lot of these tools. The tools are fairly inexpensive. I think it's the recipe. When you go to the conference, you want to, I think the winners are going to come out fast and execute. They're action takers. They're not people with a lot of intentions. And it's like, my grandmother doing a recipe, showing my mother, just when she turns her back, she throws in a pinch of something, which makes it special.
Exactly.
And that's true, by the way. But I think that's going to be the biggest change in whether you have 10 competitors. It's how they're putting their technology together. Everybody's going to have access. So, anyways, I think that's a wrap for today. Oh, no, we have a question, don't we, Kels?
Yes, we have a question from Steve. He says, "Thank you, Vanessa. Having said all that, how do you make the best content? Do you have any tools that you like to use?"
Content for Amazon, I'm using agents like GPT agents. I know. So this is one thing, and I guess it's a lot of the discussion in the industry. Like, what is better, like to use ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or DeepSeek or this or that? Honestly, when you have a lot of information about the audience, when you explain a lot, like when your prompt is amazing, you can really use any, and the results will be great. That is my opinion. I pay for ChatGPT. That's the main one that I use. I also pay for Perplexity, but for other things to create content, I use ChatGPT agents. So those are specialized bots or agents that I train with specific boundaries of what they can do. It's not anything. It's not that I put the prompt to one conversation with ChatGPT. This is a specific agent, and the agent knows what not to say, what to say, like what is the length of a title, for example, what they cannot repeat, like all of these things. So it gets better. That is what I use for
Do you
a
use
lot
an
of.
app for the agents?
No, I
No.
use it like it's in my chat GPT like left bar.
Yep.
I've been so one that's one thing that I wanted to do. I spend a lot of time, and read to also help me with this. I create a bunch of agents, and I wanted to integrate those agents into my Slack. So in the sense of like I will treat the agent as a person in my Slack ecosystem, and I'll say like, "Hey, just build me this," and it will happen. So I couldn't make it that happen just because you need a special connection and another software layering on top of all of that technology. Supposedly, you cannot take like custom GPTs to Slack natively, like as a native integration. You need something else. So yeah, that. And for images or video, images, I'm using one. So picture is for videos. That's what we use for videos. But there is one for images, and I totally forgot the name. Well, I'll get back to you when. Let me see
Okay.
if I can find it. But there is one for. So this is one of the craziest softwares. So you take your main image of your product, white background and all of that, the regular, I guess, main image, and then you put it in this software, and then to the software you say, let's say it's a yoga mat. Make this yoga mat in a studio with four people doing yoga in front of a mirror. Is hot yoga, and they are meditating, something like that. And the system comes out with things that are like amazing. It is incredible. There are certain little nuances that are kind of like, what is that? Sometimes it's kind of weird. We did one with something in a desk, And in the desk there was like a pen, but the pen, it was like all weird and deformed. It was funny. But besides that, everything else was fantastic. So I
It's not
am.
e-content, is it?
No, it's not e-content. I don't know. E-content does that?
Yeah.
Amazing. So go. Oh, Caspa AI.
Oh, Caspa. Yeah.
Caspa. Yeah. Um, I didn't know e-content does that.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I love everything that Max is doing, and I think his software is amazing. I didn't know that part, but for other things, I think it's fantastic. So,
There's another one if you want to check it out. It's Pensilla. So
oh, you mentioned it, but is it
yeah,
already available? Because
it
you said that it was still like
yeah, it's
beta.
more for graphic artists, but
Mm,
it does exactly that. So, and what it allows you to do too, which I like, is the lifestyle, the realism that they've got into their prompt. I've never seen anything like this. I'll talk to Mike. His name's Mike Campbell, and see where they're at. I know there was a few glitches where they were trying to be similar to Canva, but they've changed their direction now to work with graphic artists, just
yeah.
like graphic artists. But anyways, I think that's it. So Vanessa, where do people get a hold of you?
Email Vanessa at Online Seller Solutions, website Online Seller Solutions. LinkedIn is my favorite place to be around, create content, spend a lot of time in that social media. You can find me at Vanessa Hung. And yeah, I create a lot of content there. So if you follow me there, you will be on top of everything that's happening. And there are so many things that we didn't talk about that is changing in the Amazon world, especially in the inventory and profitability and things like that. I'm kind of like uh paying close attention, because it will definitely be something that will change the approach for a lot of businesses this year, in the Amazon world.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
we could get you to come back. That would be nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Start, scale, exit, repeat. I'm Colin C. Campbell, and I've started over a dozen multi-million-dollar companies in the last 30 years. I spent the last 10 years writing the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, to figure out what it is that these serial entrepreneurs do over and over again. We interviewed over 200 people. We created 58 chapters, over 30 illustrations, 180 callouts, and we quite frankly made this book for the ADHD entrepreneur. It's been #1 on Amazon in 15 categories and has won 12 awards globally. Get your book today, either on ebook, paperback, hardcover, or Audible on Amazon or your favorite bookstore.
Thank you for watching, everyone. If you want to check out our newsletter, it's lwn.news.
And if you want to become part of this community, you can always listen to the podcast live, listen to it in 2 weeks, and come over to our WhatsApp group, go to their newsletter, or go to our Facebook group. Any one or any combination is awesome. Okay, everybody. See you next Wednesday.
Entrepreneur.